When your heart is broken for the first time, you probably think, this is it, this is rock bottom. But you're a teenager, a child even. You don't know anything. You don't know how deep this hole goes. But somehow, as time flies, you will go deeper. The light shining inside you will dim. You will be humiliated. You will be ashamed. You will lose your dignity. You'll roll around in the mud like a pig, begging for the pain to stop, but it will keep going. You will find a new low. And maybe one day, you'll wake up and realize you're not in this hole anymore. But by then, you'll probably be too old to remember your last meal. Or maybe you won't even be on this massive rock anymore. That's the reality of life. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. We're all just hookers with more clothes. We put screens in our faces to distract ourselves. Constant consumption, sex, drugs, money, power, alcohol, consumerism, other people even. We all have our addictions, but nothing can truly mask the ugly face of our existence. When tragedy strikes, you will gaze into the eyes of the terrible father that is life. I'm no different. I have my flaws and I hide my pain just like everyone else does. But I like my liquor neat. I don't like chasers who just end up messing up both drinks. All to make this bizarre combination that doesn't really taste like soda but doesn't really taste like alcohol either. I like the bitter taste, the burning in your guts as the liquor rushes in. Nothing has come to show me this like being unemployed. When you have a job or a school to go to every day, there's always something to do. Some way to distract yourself from your problems. You have people around you. You form a camaraderie with them. Then loneliness fades away. But when you're unemployed, you have nothing but the prison of your mind. You're all by yourself and you feel everything. Eventually, you will read every tweet, every book, watch every movie ever made. You will find the bottom of a TikTok For You page. At least, that's what it'll feel like. You'll spend months tossing job applications to the void, adjusting the phrasing of your resume or your cover letter, convinced that minute details will land you the job. But over time, you will start to question whether you actually want that job. Seeing yourself rotting away in that cubicle, spending most of your time at your desk, or in traffic, or asleep, getting home so tired you have no energy to do anything. Yeah, the money is nice, but what's the point if you never have the time to spend it? Unfortunately, we will not be considering you for this position, they say, before shamelessly inviting you to look at other positions on their site. Most of them don't even have the courtesy of sending you a rejection email. Depending on how much trauma you've been lugging around your whole life, the pain you experience in this phase of your life will vary in intensity. For me, it's been very difficult. Sometimes I don't even know what day it is. All I know is pain. All I feel is shame. It gets so hard sometimes I can physically feel my chest ache. The loneliness just takes over. Everybody's moving on with their lives, and I'm just stuck here. I have no idea where I'm going, and I don't even care about anything anymore. That's why I've stopped sending applications to the void. How do I keep applying for a web development or software engineering job when I don't even care about getting them? I don't have the passion for them, and my interest for them is only surface level. And you expect me to dedicate the rest of my life in the pursuit of a career in this field? Am I even educated enough to do these jobs? Yeah, I have this piece of paper that tells me I have a degree in this field, but the job requirements clearly say experience in this, experience in that, at least 3 years of experience in the job market. You're joking. For an entry-level position. I saw an internship role the other day that had a master's degree as a requirement. In uni, I was told to go outside of what I was being taught, that my coursework wasn't enough for the real world. I'm sorry, but that's absolute bullshit. What's the point of getting a degree then? You're telling me that I can spend 4 years of my life trying to get a piece of paper, but after that I have to spend $200 just for an entry-level certification. And even then, I might not get a job. That requires some sort of dedication that I just don't have. But the job market is a whole ocean and we're just tiny fish swimming in it. the sharks could choose us or spare us, but there's way more of us than them. With the time I have now, I realize how much I've been holding on to. Trauma, pain, hatred, things I never had to deal with. We all have them. But it's only when you lose everything, when everything slows down, that you really get to feel the brunt of your baggage. And because we're constantly distracting ourselves, we never feel the full extent of our suffering. So what happens when I get a job? I might lose it one day, or maybe I won't, and I'll go until I retire. But that baggage, it's still there. This thing I'm feeling, it'll come for me. But how much will I have to lose when it eventually catches up with me? At some point in this whole situation though, I almost landed an internship. Have you ever seen people on the side of the road wearing overalls and safety gear, climbing electricity lines? Chances are they're installing or maintaining internet cables. I could have been doing that. I would have done that for 3 months, then another 3 months at the office. I'd get paid, although I never found out how much. I wouldn't have to cut off my dreadlocks and would only have a 5-day work week. It was a good deal. I was at the job site on a cold July morning, early by an hour and some change because I assumed that work started at 8. It was a Monday. The podcast, Creepcast, usually releases episodes on Sunday nights. And on that fateful night, they had blessed me with Mother Horse-Eyes, a literary masterpiece, an 11-hour-long episode. On my way to work, I pressed play. After getting there, I sat on a bench waiting for my boss to arrive. I wasn't too upset at having to wait a whole hour for him to arrive because at least I got to listen to this story. One of the best things to ever grace my ears. I won't spoil it for you. You can go and read or listen to it on your own if you'd like. But the story has themes of death, drugs, depression, technology, horror, science fiction, religion. It spans centuries, multiple dimensions, 100 Reddit posts, several stories that would be fantastic on their own, but together they're magnificent. I wish I could explain to you how good a story that mentions magical space pussies and demon penises is, but you just have to read that on your own. I'm not a drug addict or alcoholic like the main character, but I can relate to him. I feel a kinship with him. It was amazing, inspiring. The way he writes, it was so gripping. It has been months, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about the Pompeii the Great story, and the Iwo Jima story. The Korean man suspended in the air, limbs cut apart, crying, sweating and laughing at the soldiers as the mountain behind him mimics him. Those last words still give me chills.
The devil took Jesus and went to the mountain to show him all the kingdoms of the world's glory. If you fall down and worship me, saying, I will give it all to you.
Chill, man, chill. Go listen to this show, I swear, man. Anyway, eventually my boss will arrive and take me to meet the other employees. 2 guys around my age. I saw them fiddle around with this box, splicing optical cables or something, I don't know. Nobody explained it to me, even upon request. You'll understand soon, they said. So I just watched. I tried to be friendly, but they didn't really seem to want to talk to me. I yielded. I kept to myself. Seen but not heard. The story burning a hole in my pockets. I craved to listen to it. My boss could tell how cold I was, so he opened the car and I sat with him in awkward silence. I have no idea how long we stayed there, because at some point I fell asleep. My body was too used to waking up at noon. For the 4 years I was in university, I never saw myself climbing electricity lines as a career. It wasn't really something I wanted to do. I always thought I'd work in an office at a software company or something. I have a bachelor's degree in applied physics and computer science, but I never considered the physics of it all, or engineering even. This job will probably set me up for an engineering job, Or maybe it would put me somewhere in the middle, free to make my choice on where I wanted to go. But I started to question whether I wanted to go down either path. I didn't want to look back several years in the future and wish I had made a different decision. I know regret all too well. It was the reason I was there in the first place. I blame myself for a lot of things. It's impossible to let them go. I couldn't just close my eyes and head down whichever pavement. But there was no way for me to know for sure. At the same time, I was listening to the Mother Horse's story and wondering, how could I just let my creativity die? How could I just not do anything with my talents? Conform to whatever idea of an employee they needed. A slave to the machine, just waiting till the end of the month for that paycheck. Spending it all on bills and repeating the cycle. Slaving away for 6 months, selling my soul. And after that 6 months were up, then what? Would I get a permanent position? Will I look for a job somewhere else? I was stuck. All the confidence I had in taking this internship drained away. The other employees didn't really seem to be my type of people. The boss seemed to be tribalistic. The 2 guys at the job site, the people calling him back at the office, they all spoke Kalenjin. I obviously have no idea if I was correct in my assumption, so I give him the benefit of the doubt. I could have chosen to benefit from this, but the whole thing just put a bitter taste in my mouth. He seemed to be in favor of the government. The previous weekend, protesters had been killed and injured in Ngong. He didn't seem to have any sympathy for them. He spoke about seeing young people lying dead on the street in such a matter-of-fact way. The problem isn't the president, the problem is that there are no jobs, he told me. We were talking about one of the most corrupt politicians in the history of the Republic. A butcher, a looter, a liar. I kept my mouth shut though. I wasn't going to voice my opinions. This boss, he seemed to have a lot of flaws. But throughout our interactions, he never made me feel judged. And there was a lot to judge. Kalenjin men don't like dreadlocks. He treated me with kindness and generosity. It felt like he could gaze into me, see how lost I was, how much I was struggling not only with my choice of career but also my mental health. Paralyzed by my fear of failure, limited by choice, he gave me compassion I wasn't even willing to give myself. He seemed like an angel, like a living, breathing heavenly body that descended down to earth to give me hope. When I told him I needed time to think about whether this was really the job I wanted, he told me it was okay because the choice was mine. He gave me money even though I hadn't done anything that day, even though I was asking to be relieved from this internship, and dropped me off at a petrol station. I got some food and went home, listening to Mother Horse Eyes. A few months later, I'm still unemployed. Sometimes I wonder if I made the right choice. I thought of doing a certification, cybersecurity maybe learn Python or Java. I never did though. I was so afraid of making the wrong choice that I never did. The depression ate away at me, the shame, and now here I am. I feel everything. I have no distractions. Sometimes I think this is rock bottom, but I don't know. I don't know how far this hole goes. I feel humiliated, ashamed. I have shed my dignity. I have rolled around in the mud like a pig, begging for the pain to stop, but it never does. But a new low awaits. And maybe one day I'll wake up and realize there is no hole anymore. But by then, I'll probably be too old to remember my last meal. Or maybe I just won't be on this massive rock anymore.